Well, there's one of our deer down there. We'd had about 4 or 5 here earlier today, but they went back up the creek bank, up to the top. And I just came out and saw this guy. He was, well, she actually was presenting a much more visible and interesting view. Now we're getting to see her behind. Yeah, sweet deer. Yeah, you're a good soul. We like having you around. I guess primitive weapons season has started up here in Ohio, so this is potentially a bit of a safe place of refuge here. Although I did tell my neighbor who runs the nursery across the creek, and he's a bow hunter, and sometimes he shoots these deer and they come scampering over here onto the property, and he has to retrieve them, and that's fine by me. Obviously, don't want them to go to waste. And yeah, I've basically said, you know, just if you want to come over here and hunt, you can. Although I hope I said it in a way that sort of he would understand that I was being, well, not overtly encouraging of such activity. I have no problem with hunting. You know, I've hunted. You know, you gotta kill stuff and eat it. But you know, I'd just soon keep our little family groups intact over here if I can. Well, there's Mama Deer. She's got her 2 babies with her. Well, they're bigger. They're no longer babies. They're big babies now. I mean, they're big guys. They're there. Barely. But they're there. It's okay, honey souls. It's about 10 till 5 here in the afternoon on Monday, October 28th, 2013. This is that time of day they start moving around and doing some stuff. Haven't seen any males here actively breeding yet. Although I should imagine that in another week or two we will see some of that. We had a fair amount of that activity last year. They were thrashing around and running around a lot. Well, you can see others in the background moving anyway, without, maybe you can't see them clearly, but they're there, so. Okay. Well, after that very venison-y-like interlude, or potential venison-y-like interlude, I got thinking about, well, what should I talk to these folks about on YouTube today? Well, you know, some days there's just not too much to talk about, although obviously woke up early as I always do, and you know, did the email. Actually, I sent several emails to my son. He had sent me about 3 or 4 yesterday and replied to 1 or 2 of mine, and so I replied to the emails, and then I normally would read, you know, some sort of online newspaper or news sources. I tend to be a fairly voracious devourer of those sorts of things, although a lot of them are nonsense. Well, you can click past them now, can't you? But I just didn't want to do that today. I didn't want to read about the devastation over in England from this big windstorm they had, and other nonsense that's going on, so I just didn't do it. Sometimes you got to give yourself a break from that nonsense. Although obviously it's not nonsense to the people who are undergoing it. This is a beer Paul found at the hotel. I've never had it before. It's a Guinness product, although it's not a Guinness. It's not bad, you know, it's adequate. So I did some YouTube then instead, and I looked at Google Earth a while. I love Google Earth, and so actually, what I really want to talk to you about is I got a email from this woman who's a friend of my ex-wife and also of me, and who's always been very gracious to me and very kind to me, very helpful to me in times when I've been going through some bad times. And she sent me some emails from colleagues in the English department where this fellow who just recently died, I referenced him yesterday, or the day before. Yesterday, the day before, I think. He died, and he'd been vice chairman of the English department for several years back in the 1980s. And a number of the now, you know, associate professors and professors down there have, you know, put out emails and things about what this man had done for them when they were just starting out at the university. And they're very moving. They're very moving. I mean, this man was one of these guys. His kindness just radiates out into the world like big rock dropped into a pond. Heck, several rocks dropped into a pond. So it's, if you've got to cack off, it's good to be remembered that way. So that was very interesting. I guess apparently this guy, when people would come to interview, he'd put them up in his house, and feed them and give them advice, and just very, very multi-talented individual. Good teacher. He was there exercising in a gym one day, and 36 hours later he was dead. No known underlying problems, I guess. Or none that I've been told about. We have all the HIPAA laws now. You can't talk about stuff. So that's been about the extent of my day. I got the mail. Of course, she had a stack of mail this thick, and there was a cable bill and The Economist were the only two things I needed to keep. So the rest went into the the file there, and so it's been very benign. Thanks be to God on that one. So, bye-bye, YouTubers.